Hello and welcome. Today I'm adding Kingpin Arcade Bowling, whatever it's called, from the Team 17 collection to my ever-growing list where I rank every Evercade game ever. Kingpin Bowling was originally released in 1995 by Team 17, and if I recall correctly it was a budget release. It's a bit of a no-frills bowling game, and this is 10-pin bowling. Although when I hear someone say bowling, I only ever think of 10-pin bowling, but I guess other people think of other things instead. Maybe? Does anyone actually think of anything else? Do they just think of bowling when you're bowling in cricket? Or maybe they think of some kind of fetish involving bowls and, crockery and things. I don't know. Like I say, bowling for me is always 10-pin bowling. But on a similar note, when I hear Kingpin, I think of Wilson Fisk and Daredevil and Spider-Man and things. But I also occasionally think of that 90s movie, the sort of gross-out comedy with, was it Randy Quaid in it and Woody Harrelson? I remember finding that quite funny when I was a teenager. But anyway, I'm going off topic. Well, it's kind of on topic because that is bowling as well. And it's the right type of bowling, maybe. Anyway, Kingpin Bowling was originally released for the Amiga in 1995 as a budget release, and it's a no-frills sports game. Let's do my usual and break it down into the various sections. Let's start off with the
gameplay.
The main element of the gameplay is pretty basic. You position your bowler left or right, you select your ball, well, the weight of your ball that you choose and your power, then you press a button to make it go, which effectively is a timed movement. You see your pin going back and forth. Press the right time to place your shot, and apparently there's a little bit of aftertouch once the ball is rolling, but I never pay much attention to that really. But largely that's it. You bowl, you work through your various sets, you get your spares, your strikes, and all the other bowling things that you do. It's bowling. There are a few game modes. You've got singles, you've got pairs and trios, and you can have up to 6 players and CPU opponents of varying skills. You've got a character creation or a player creation with some basic stat tracking. I'd say it's got most of the bowling things that you'd want. Apparently there's even some subtle effects on the curvature and the characteristics of the bowling lane you're using between games, although I can't say I really noticed this.
Graphics.
Now, as you can see by what's on screen, it's not a flashy or impressive looking game, but everything looks the part. The presentation overall is relatively Spartan, with it being functional rather than flashy, and the graphics going for a realistic look rather than emphasising character or flashiness, I guess. But I think as a result it does exactly what it needs to do, what it sets out to do. Functional, yes, but I suppose the good side of functional.
Sound.
There's not really any music to speak of. Actually, I don't think there's any, if I can recall correctly. And the sound effects are fairly basic. They lean towards realistic, I suppose, much like the graphics. You've got your background noises, you've got the sound of your ball hitting the pins, that's the word I was looking for. And yeah, the sounds are, competent, utilitarian, and they do the job, I guess. I mean, yeah, they're absolutely fine. There is some background voice work as well, which is quite amusing, with a woman on loudspeaker calling out like a car registration and things like you'd get if you're in a bowling alley. That's a nice touch, but it doesn't really do anything to add to the gameplay, nor does it massively enhance the experience overall, but it is mildly amusing.
Overall opinion.
Kingpin Bowling is absolutely fine, and it is easily the best bowling game on the Evercade. Not that there's much in the way of competition, just the 2600 game I believe. It isn't the most enticing or exciting game. It's not one you're going to buy the collection for. Well, unless you're a really die-hard bowling aficionado, but I suspect for most people it's a game that you'll play or like well enough, but you won't really come back to all that often. I do think it shines in multiplayer, if you have more people who you think would be willing to play this sort of game. I mean, I haven't played it multiplayer on the Evercade, but I did play it multiplayer back in the day on the Amiga. So yeah, there is a touch of nostalgia for me with this title. To sum up my thoughts on Kingpin Bowling into a short, snappy sentence or two, it is a competent, no-frills bowling simulator that does exactly what it needs to do, but not 1 ounce more.
Ranking.
Placing Kingpin Bowling on my ever-growing list where I rank every Evercade game ever, I've elected to put it above DevWill 2, but below Lost Tomb, placing it at 275 out of 501 games that I've ranked so far. And in some ways I feel it's low for what I think of the game, but it's just not what I'm drawn to, and I couldn't justify putting it above other games even if they are technically worse in some ways, but I get more fun out of them as a general rule. So yeah, this is where it ended up. Just again, it's just not something I'm drawn to play all that often. Anyway, I think that about wraps it up for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.